With the 15th pick and with the 26th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Dwayne Haskins, Montez Sweat.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sister. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Luke. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report Live. So, lot to get to tonight. We are literally 8 days away from round number 1 of the 2020 NFL Draft. Very excited, anxious times as a Redskins fan, really for any fan of any fan base, or any fan of any team, rather. You like, for instance, you get a rumor today that we haven't really heard all draft process long. And again, it's still lying season. Nothing's changed, but Falcons slated to move up. They want a defender, a big-time defender, probably more specifically an edge rusher. I think I know which one they're looking to get their hands on, but that's nor here nor there. You're going to hear a lot of that coming up in the next couple of days. I saw a bogus report that Tua's potentially dropping and falling in the draft. Yeah, right. Really. Stop. Come on now. Stop. All right. Some of this stuff is believable. A lot of it is not. So you're going to hear a lot of stuff about the Redskins potentially. Now, some of this stuff I'm going to lend credence to, especially when it revolves trading, not the number 2 pick, but rather Trent Williams, or maybe trading for a tight end or something like that, because again, this is not the strongest tight end draft in the world, although I do like some of these guys. After having watched some of them very closely, there are a couple of them that I wouldn't mind taking, but again, it just depends on how this draft shakes out. You really don't know what's going to happen. I've got a wish list. I've told you guys this already, that I've got a wish list that I want the Redskins to go and fill. It never goes the way that I quite want it to go. So I'm not really all that hell-bent on them getting all of the players that I would like them to get. But what I will say is, on the artwork that I have for this particular show and the thumbnail, I pretty much put my wish list on that thumbnail. Now, what I'm looking for is, I've got a scale, essentially. 2 of the players on the thumbnail, and I feel like we had a good draft. 3 of those players on that thumbnail, and I feel like we've had a great draft. 4 of those players or more, and we've had a fantastic draft, one that I couldn't even imagine. It's highly unlikely that we walk away with more than 2 of those players, if just more than 1. You know, I feel like Chase Young is going to be here, so I'm counting him as 1. You add in the rest of those guys that you see up there, and I've got the specific positions that we probably need the most: receiver, tight end, and offensive tackle on my wish list. Now, in what order they come, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. What matters most is what the Redskins value, what Kyle Smith and Ron Rivera and that crew in Washington, what they're looking to obtain, you know, and what they deem to be value. What I think and what they think are probably 2 totally different things. We don't see it out of the same prism. We don't see it the same way. And so I may have a 2nd or a 3rd round grade on the guy. They got a 5th round grade on that guy. They're not interested in that guy. If he's around in the 5th or 6th round, they may take a flyer then. But and I may be similar to what I did with Kelvin Harmon last year. Here I am sitting talking about Kelvin Harmon as a late 2nd, no later than 3rd round pick, and we get Kelvin Harmon in the 6th round or whatever it was last year. I want to say it was the 6th round. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking this guy's 3rd round talent, and everyone else around, it wasn't just the Redskins, everyone else around the league said, nah, not 3rd round talent, more like 5th or 6th round talent, sure. And so the Redskins got him in the 6th round. And so I might be valuing a guy way higher than everyone else in the league is. So it's amazing to see how this thing shakes out. I've had my fair share of misses. I've had my fair share of home runs that I've knocked out of the park. Unfortunately, the Redskins haven't partaken in any of the home runs that I've hit. Other teams have benefited off of that. So this year, I'm hoping that the Redskins are able to get some of these guys that I think are really talented football players I've honed in on specific needs for this team, and I'm looking forward to the Redskins filling a couple of these needs, whether they're with players that I love or not. If they love them, that's all that matters. So get Chase Young, and then everything after that to me is icing on the cake. Okay, honestly speaking, get Chase Young, and after that, you got me. Anything else to me is just extra. Even though we need a lot more stuff, you can't stop there. That first day is going to be exhilarating because of the fact that I think we're getting a guy that can change the game, something that we haven't had on this team in quite some time. But there are a number of things that I want to get to tonight, including that wish list that I just mentioned. I do want to talk about potential trades because a lot of people have been bringing up Trent Williams, and I think this is the time he gets traded. You know, this is deadline spur action. All right. This is the time where you see deals consummated. All right. So I'm expecting the Redskins, if they're going to make a move on a tight end, a la O.J. Howard, if they're going to make a move on someone like that, now's the time to do it. You know, if they're going to make a move on, say, a Hunter Henry, say he's available. And I'm not saying that he is. He signed his franchise tag. I don't see the Redskins looking to give him what he's going to make this year in 1 year in $10 million. I don't see the Redskins looking to give him that kind of deal. But sorry about that. Whether it's a couple of threes or it's a deuce or it's a 3 and a 4 or, you know, and a 6 or whatever the case may be. You know, you want to already know exactly what you're going to do going into day number 2. So someone like that, I think you're going to see that player particularly moved as soon as possible. But before we start this show, before we get to the particulars of the show and set the table and get everything kicked off, I wanted to drop this gem on your melon quickly. So got a brand new IG. I've rebranded on IG, and I've set the table. Got a direction that I'm flowing in on IG, and I want to get it started right. So I'm going to start it with you guys and the rest of the Louis T Network congregation. And so I've posted from now on, from here on moving forward, what I'm going to do with my draft videos is I'm going to post them on this IG account. So the one you see on the screen, all right, Louis T Network _. All right, follow me there on IG. A lot of pertinent information is going to be disseminated on my Instagram account. Okay, so Louis T Network _. Follow me on IG, Louis T Network _. I've got a full breakdown, a full draft prospects 101 breakdown of Chase Young on my IG. So make sure you follow me there so that when I update, because I'm going to do one on Isaiah Simmons as well. There's one up there on Jordan Love. There's an interesting piece that I put up there as well from Urban Meyer, my man Herb, talking about what makes Chase Young so special and why he's a unique breed. All of that is on my IG as we speak right now. So go ahead, after this show is done, go over to IG and follow me, Louis T Network _ on IG, and you'll get some content you can't get on this channel or anywhere else from me, your man, Louis T. And I'll be continuing to promote that throughout the course of the night. So make sure, and also the IG handle is in the description of this and all my future videos as well. So be on the lookout for the Louis T Network _, which is my handle on IG. Go ahead and follow me. So with that being said, you know how this works. In case some of you are brand new to the program and the channel, welcome to the Louis T Network. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the Louis T Network for more great content. Make sure that if you want your comment read on the air, use the hashtag Louis T Live. Now, how this works is we've got a pecking order here. All right. Super chats come first. All right. So if you want to have your voice heard, super chat is the way to do it first and foremost. All right. They're called super for a reason because they come before everything else. So super chats come first. Second are phone calls. And the number is now on the screen. Phone lines are now open. If there are no super chats, we go to the phone lines. Okay, there's the phone number. just make sure a few items are checked off of the list before you call in. 1, your monitor in the background is turned down. 2, you have a stable connection. 3, your volume is up loud so that we can all hear you. Make sure, 4, that you have a concise point that you're looking to hammer home. Get to it so we can answer the question and move on. All right. Looking forward to chopping it up with you guys because we're getting dangerously close to the draft. So I know you guys have a lot to say. Looking forward to getting to all of your comments, calls, and so forth tonight. And then the last way is, of course, just the good old-fashioned hashtag Louis T Live in the comments section. Using that hashtag, if there are no calls, if there are no super chats, we get to the comments in the comment section. And lastly, behave yourselves in the comment section, okay? We're all Redskins fans. Most of us, not all of us. I shouldn't say that. Most of us are Redskins fans. And even the ones that aren't, be nice, okay? Be kind to one another, all right? That being said, let's get to the proceedings this evening. And we start with the super chats. All right, and I see them flowing aplenty already, so let's get to business. My man Zulu Tribe 36, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. And he just says, yo, what's good, Zulu Tribe 36? Man, appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. My man Chris Lou hanging with us late. All right, appreciate you, Chris Lou, and appreciate the super chat. My man Chris Lou writes, just my contribution. He says, salute, man. Catch up tomorrow. Enjoy the show. Keep up the good job. Thank you so much, Chris Lou. Get you a good night's rest, and we'll reconvene tomorrow. Sonny Rawson, thank you for the super chat. Sonny Rawson, greatly appreciate the super chat, Sonny Rawson. Sonny writes, love your content, Louis T. Thank you for everything you do. You should collaborate with Ed Oliver, another Redskin YouTuber, hashtag Chase92. You know what? Eventually, we'll probably get around to one of those. You know, one of these days. I've actually been on a show with him, but it was on another Redskins channel some, 3-4 months ago. I can't recall how long ago it was. It felt like an eternity ago, but it was on my man Skins Fan All Day, his channel. And it was a bunch of us Redskins YouTubers up there. So I've been in collaboration with him before, but not specifically on my channel. So maybe that's something that I might need to do in the future. Thank you for the super chat, Sonny Rawson. DMV fan 123, my man DMV fan. Thank you for the super chat. DMV fan writes, Skins need to be in on OJ Howard trade talk, in my opinion. I think that they are. When I alluded to the Redskins potentially making a deal, it's not just Trent Williams that I'm referring to. I think that a guy like OJ Howard is definitely intriguing to them. Now, the real question is, where did the Redskins evaluate him when he was in the draft, some 4 years ago? How do the Redskins feel about OJ Howard, when he came out into the draft? If the Redskins felt really good about him and had a first-round grade on him, and let's get because Kyle Smith has been in the organization long enough to know what the Redskins' grade was on him, and really Ron Rivera has seen him up close and personal for the last 3 years in the NFC South, so he probably has an opinion on OJ Howard as well, and I'm pretty sure they've watched tape. And that's the real question, is how do they feel about him now versus how they felt about him when he came out of Alabama? And do they think that maybe he was being misused and maybe he can perform better? There are some things that you have to ask because there hasn't been a ton of production in Tampa Bay. Some of it from lack of targets, but some of it is through OJ Howard's own doing. I mean, I remember very vividly, we joke about Jameis Winston and the 30 interceptions. I remember OJ Howard doing a behind-the-back Harlem Globetrotters interception where he catches the football, goes behind his back, throws it up in the air, and it gets picked off. Like, he's doing some nonsense too. So, we haven't been watching him closely. We just remember the OJ Howard from Alabama. And so we don't actually know why he hasn't produced at the level that we were all expecting him to coming out of Alabama. But I'm all in on OJ Howard if the price is right. If they're asking for too steep a price, I would bow out of that. And really, if I'm the Buccaneers, I spent a first-round pick on him. I want a second-round pick in return. We don't have one of those. So, again, everybody wants to pawn off Trent Williams on them. Well, guess what? As I've mentioned before, if you're going to move Trent Williams, it has to make sense for the team involved in the deal as well. They've got a left tackle that they're paying some good money to in Tampa Bay named Donovan Smith. Now, maybe they could kick him over to the right side and have Trent on the left side. Or maybe they just say to Donovan Smith, to hell with you. We got an all-pro left tackle now in Trent Smith or Trent Williams. You can go sit on the bench for all we care. But they still got to pay Trent. If I don't think this is a Quentin Dunbar situation where they shipped him off to Seattle, and I don't think Quentin Dunbar is getting a deal in Seattle. He's going to have to play out this 1 year, and if things go well, he may get a deal in Seattle, but I don't think it's coming before the season. And Trent may be like, look, I need my money guaranteed. That was one of the biggest obstacles in trying to get him back here in the first place. I think that situation is unsalvageable at this point. So something's going to happen with Trent. I just don't know if that involves a deal in which you get a O.J. Howard. I think the Buccaneers may just want draft capital for him because they're looking for cheap labor. They just spent a ton of money on Tom Brady. They spent some money to keep one of their own in Jason Pierre-Paul. They have a franchise taggee right now on their roster in Shaq Barrett that they probably want to keep. He's going to cost a boatload of money if he duplicates what he did last year with his 19.5 sack season. So they don't have a lot of money to give out, especially the guys that are on the outside coming in. You know, it's tough. Same thing we talked about. When guys come into the organization and you pay them a bunch of money and you still got guys in your locker room that need to be paid, it's tough to do that. So I don't know if a Trent Williams to the Buccaneers for O.J. Howard makes a ton of sense for all parties involved or not. But I'd definitely be open to that discussion because, again, to me, he's better than any of the tight ends right now, at least. Maybe the upside on some of those guys, once you get them in your building and you like them and they're able to perform, maybe it exceeds that of an O.J. Howard. But when you look at what O.J. Howard was coming out of Alabama, he's way better than any of the tight end prospects that are in this year's draft class. So thank you for the super chat, DMV fan 123. Another super chat. This one from my man BD. What it do? Barrett Downing, thank you for the super chat. As always, my man BD, always blessing the program, says, bro, thanks for the show after a long day. I appreciate it. No, I appreciate you, Barrett Downing. Thank you for the super chat after I've had a long day as well. Greatly appreciate that. My man Rob Yu with the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Rob Yu. Greatly appreciate it. My man Rob Yu writes, as always, Lou, got to catch you every week. Your thoughts on if Thaddeus Moss could at least be a decent depth for us. He looks on the small side but gives good effort in the run game. I was pleasantly surprised with how well he performed in the run game. I talked about that on my last Draft 101 live program last Thursday. This week, we're going to be breaking down defensive linemen and edge rushers. Last week, we broke down offensive line, or specifically offensive tackles and tight ends. And so I talked about his ability to block. Really surprised at how well he blocked. He talked about that being a big part of his game. I didn't think that was the case because he was split out wide so often at LSU. But when you really dig into the tape, yes, he in fact does block and actually block really well for a guy, as you mentioned, his size, not a big guy. And then not to boot, not a great athlete either. So he is a guy that could potentially serve as depth on someone's roster. But again, what are the Redskins looking to do? Because we're not in the depth department. We got plenty of that on the roster already. All right. We're looking for tight end number 1. We're looking for TE1. All right. We're not looking for TE2 or 3. We got those guys in spades on the roster already. We got about 3 TE3s, 2 TE2s. We don't have a TE1. All right. We don't have a starting tight end. We got a bunch of backups on the roster as we speak right now. So I don't know if they're looking at depth, and maybe they see Thad Moss as a guy that could come in and be a starter. But for right now, I think that Thad Moss is a guy that is going to be around in the 4th, 5th round, somewhere in that vicinity. And depending on how the draft falls and what the Redskins are looking to do, maybe he is a target of the Redskins a little bit later on in the draft. We will see. Thank you for the super chat once again, Rob Yu. Leo Suarez with the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Leo Suarez. Greatly appreciated. Leo writes, do you think building a new stadium in D.C. will bring Redskins success? Seems like it does to everyone else. I don't anticipate the Redskins getting an opportunity to play in D.C., in actual D.C. All right, I don't actually see them getting into D.C. I think they're going to end up in Virginia more likely than not. That's what it looks like Daniel Snyder's trying to get done. Maryland isn't out of the discussion yet, but it seems like it's more likely than not going to be Virginia. It'd be great if we went back to D.C. where we belong. The old RFK site is where everyone wants the stadium, but it just doesn't seem feasible right now. But I can tell you this much. Forget about where the stadium is. We start winning ball games and the fans will come. Trust me. All right? We've seen this done. All you got to think about is 2012. And what a phenomena that team was. And what Robert Griffin III was as a shooting star for this organization. I can remember vividly, clear as day, that 2012 Week 17 matchup versus the Cowboys. Winner goes to the playoffs and wins the division. Loser goes home. Winner takes all. And how packed that stadium was and how loud it was. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it right now. I mean, that house was rocking. It was packed. And if you win, they'll come back. Trust me. You know, even in 2015, to a lesser degree. That playoff game versus the Packers, they showed up. You like that? They were chanting, you like that? And they had their white towels. Like, the fans will show up if you win. Problem is, we just haven't done enough of that. So, a new stadium is cool, but it doesn't solve all your ills. You got to win football games. That will bring the fans back more so than anything else. So, thank you for the super chat, Leo Suarez. Redskins Pride, WGIL. My man, Redskins Pride. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Redskins Pride writes, Lou, Chase Claypool for the future. Chase Claypool, I just don't think he's going to be there. I think he's a second-round pick. I think he's going to go because I really think you're going to see 4 or 5 receivers. I think 6 is a little high. You know, I've walked that back because when this process first started, I was saying 6 receivers. Like 6 is possible, but I think it's more along the lines of 5. I think 5 is more likely than not. And so I think you're going to see some teams start to get busy on receiver in the second round as well, though. You know, and I think T. Higgins is a guy that could make it out of the first round. If he does, I think he's the first receiver taken, one of the first picks. As a matter of fact, I have him pegged as the Colts pick at 33 with our pick that was supposed to be the Redskins pick, or excuse me, at 34, which was supposed to be the Redskins pick. I think he's the perfect pick for the Indianapolis Colts if he's there with their second round pick. I just see Chase Claypool being one of those guys that ends up going. But again, just like last year, in a similar spot, another Notre Dame Fighting Irish wide receiver, similar size, similar speed, win the third round to the Baltimore Ravens. So you might be right. He may be available for the Redskins at 66. And we'll find out what the Redskins think of a guy like Chase Claypool if he's on the board and how they value him. I don't know. It's really fascinating. Probably even more so than the first round pick. That third round pick, assuming we don't find a way to get a second round pick, that third round pick is just fascinating because of all the things that the Redskins could do at that pick, all the needs that we need to fill at that pick, and what value, do we perceive as fans, but more importantly, as the Redskins as an organization, what picks and positions do they think give them the greatest value at 66? Is it left tackle? Is it wide receiver? Is it tight end? Is it safety? Is it a different position we're not even thinking about right now? That's probably the most fascinating dynamic. After that third round pick, you got 2 fourth rounders. I don't know if it's as intriguing. Then that third round pick is intriguing because there are some talented football players that, because this is a draft, and I don't believe Ian Rappaport is right on this, but he's not wrong in making this assertion that the top 10 could be all quarterbacks and offensive tackles. It's not going to be, but he's not wrong in saying that. He's trying to hammer home the point that quarterbacks are going to be pushed up, tackles are going to be pushed up. Okay? I told you on last week's program, I had 4 first-round grades on tackles. You're going to see 4 go in the top 10 potentially. All right? And that's not an exaggeration. You could see 4 tackles go in the top 10. I don't think it's going to happen. You're going to see 4 go in the top 15, though, more likely than not. All right? And if it's not 4, it's going to be 4 in the first 18 or 19 picks. And you're probably going to see a fifth go later on in the first, possibly a sixth. You know how this goes. Everyone starts reaching for theirs, and then the teams that are really desperate say, all right, we got to grab one before they're all gone. And so you're going to see a guy. I got Ezra Cleveland on my wish list on the thumbnail. I think he could get pushed into the second round. I got a third round grade on him. I think he could get pushed into the second round because everyone's reaching for their tackle. Got to get mine while it's there to be got. While supplies last. So Chase Claypool could fall in that same category in terms of wide receivers. Everyone starts grabbing theirs in the first round because once that top is popped, okay, I do that quite often. Once that top is popped in the first round of wide receivers, and I think it could happen as early as 7 at Jacksonville, but I think more realistically than not, it's going to happen right around 11, 12. It's definitely going to happen at 12 if it hasn't happened already by then with the Raiders at 12. And so once that first receiver is taken, everyone else is going to go for what they know. And you're going to start seeing receivers coming off the board. And it wouldn't shock me is by the time we get to pick 25, 4 or 5 receivers are already gone. And that leaves space for another receiver to come off the board. And all of a sudden, you get to the second round, and teams that didn't get one in the first round are starting to look at Chase Claypool like food. And so I just don't know if he makes it to 66. But if he's there, it'll be interesting to see if the Redskins value him the way that you do and some of us out here do as well. Thank you for the super chat, Redskins Pride. Rob U, double up, for my man Rob U, the first double up of the night. Thank you so much for the super chat, Rob U. My man Rob writes, always love the work you do, Lou. Ashton Davis or Antonio Winfield Jr., if both were hypothetically available in the third round. Ashton Davis is a guy that I've really taken a strong liking to. We'll be talking about the defensive backs and backers next week on Draft 101 Live. But Ashton Davis is a guy I've taken a keen liking to. I think he's a better all-around athlete than Antoine Winfield is. But I think Antoine Winfield is a little bit more instinctual and instinctive. Ashton Davis is a little bit more twitched up. He's a little bit more physical. I probably side with Ashton Davis over Antoine Winfield Jr. There's something to be said about NFL bloodlines, a guy that's a lifer that's been around the game his entire life. His dad was a really good pro for many years for the Vikings and Bills. And so there's something to be said about that with Antoine Winfield Jr. But I really, really like Ashton Davis a lot. He's grown on me. And, there's something about the white safety that's intriguing. We got one on the roster already. I wouldn't mind adding another one. So I like Ashton Davis. I'd probably take him over Antoine Winfield. But to me, you can't go wrong. Both of them have incredible ball skills. I just think Ashton Davis is probably the better athlete of the two, even though Antoine Winfield showed us something at the combine. He ran a lot faster than I thought he was going to run. I think Ashton Davis is a little bit more physical than that of Antoine Winfield as well, but I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those guys, but I think I would prefer Ashton Davis. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U. Joe Rockhead J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it, Joe Rockhead J. My man Joe Rockhead J writes, Happy Thanksgiving. He says, worst part of mock drafts is like I'm dooming us. Not getting to those guys, but can't resist. I think safety depth is needed badly. It is. It definitely is. That's the thing I hate about mock drafts, especially with the ones that I do, is because you try to look out for your squad when you do your mock draft, but you gotta be reasonable. You can't just be throwing out stuff willy-nilly because this is what you want to happen. It's supposed to be what you think is going to happen. But safety is something that the Redskins have to address. What if Sean Davis stinks or he gets hurt again? He was hurt last year. It's not inconceivable that he comes here and in week 4, let's knock on some wood. Don't want this to actually occur, but in week 4, he goes down to an injury and misses the rest of the season. And then that 1 year that you signed him for, you say, no, we're good. We'll pass. And then you find yourself back in the draft next year looking for safety help. That's a position that maybe you don't have to necessarily be aggressive on this year. But, if you're preparing for the future, what if Sean Davis is the guy? What if you give him the 1 year deal, he blows up this year, you re-sign him next year, and now you got another safety that you just spent a third round pick on that can't get on the field? I mean, obviously, you find ways to get talented football players on the field, and you can never have too many. That's the problem you want to have. But with the in the same, he's in his going into his fourth year or third year in Minnesota. That puts him at 30. That's not what the Redskins have done this offseason. They haven't signed 30 somethings. Obviously, Thomas Davis is the one exception to the rule, but they haven't been looking for 30 somethings. They've been looking for the guys that are pretty young that want to prove themselves. Riley Reef has made some good money in this league. I don't think he fits in what the Redskins want to do. So, if the Redskins got to go out and get a 1-year stopgap, Riley Reef is not that. They'd go out and get Donald Penn for a reasonable deal for 1 year, or they go out and get the ex-Philadelphia Eagles tackle for 1 year and bring him in. If they were looking for a stopgap, I don't think Riley Reef makes a ton of sense for the Redskins. As for the 2 4s and the 5, you throw in a player with those amount of picks, it makes sense. If you get a starting left tackle, 2 4s and a 5th, it makes sense, for Trent Williams. But I don't know if I want that starting left tackle. But again, it's all in how the Redskins assess Riley Reef and, what they feel like he's worth, how much he's being paid. Personally, I don't want Riley Reef. I wouldn't want to do the deal. But again, if the Redskins were to do that, I wouldn't be all that upset about it, because at some point you got to move him, and you're getting a left tackle, so it solves one of the issues that you have in moving Trent is what do you do at that position? And then you got more draft capital. Say, you take those 2 4s and you package them up, because Redskins already have 2 4s. So if those 2 4s are in this year's draft, or maybe it's one this year, one next year, I don't know how those 4s come to you. But even if it's just 1 4th this year and another next year, now you got 3 4th round picks. Now you can start playing around with picks and potentially packaging up some picks to move back into the 3rd round and get another guy that you may covet. It just depends. So you got to look at the totality of the situation and what you may be able to do with that. Those 2 4s and that 5th, they give you a little bit more flexibility to move around the draft board. It's not necessarily, we just got 2 more 4ths. But it's like, hey, we got 2 more 4ths. We might be able to package up, 2 4s and a 5 to get back into the 3rd if that's what it takes. Because you remember, Minnesota, they're a good football team. They made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. So that 4th round pick, probably the back end of the 4th round. Not probably, it is the back end of the 4th round. So, it depends on what you covet. So I'm not necessarily on board with that. But again, if the Redskins were to do it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I feel like you can still do better. And I'm being greedy with Trent. I'm holding out for something better because I think it's out there. Thank you for the super chat, though, Cooper Gorman. My man JP with the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, JP. My man John writes, a little late to the party and my TV cable is down, but I'm here. I have a 7-round mock draft that I want to share and a few questions. Hashtag Chase Young for Prez. I am going to, speaking of 7-round mocks for the Redskins, I am going to unleash mine on Saturday. So be on the lookout for that. Sometime Saturday, I'm going to drop my 7-round Redskins mock draft. And I'm going to keep it realistic, just like I did last year. And hopefully the Redskins are able to knock down some of the needs that we have going into the 2020 upcoming season. But looking forward to it nonetheless. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Randy Butler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Randy, my man Rand says, hey Lou, love what you do. Thanks for repping the 757. No doubt. 2 up, 2 down. He says, would you do Trent for OJ Howard in a 5th? Absolutely. At this point, Trent for OJ Howard, straight up probably makes a ton of sense. Being that Trent wants a new deal. But if you throw in a 5th to sweeten the pot, that makes it even better. If I'm the Buccaneers, I value O.J. Howard at a 2nd-round pick. You claim you want 2nd-round value for Trent Williams. There you go. Straight up. I'm not giving you another pick involved. But you're trading me a 30-something for my young stallion tight end. I'm not throwing in a 5th, but I'd love to take your 5th if you want to offer it, But I'd do the deal. It would take tight end off of the need board. And, you know, it would free up the Redskins to maybe look elsewhere in the third round, because maybe tight end is at the top of their list in the third round. But it gets rid of Trent Williams and the headache that he has presented for this organization. And you pick up a young player, which kind of fits in line with what you've done to this point, that for all intents and purposes is going to buy in, because from everything I've heard about O.J. Howard, he's a worker bee. He's a guy that wants to be coached. And he's got a bunch of his Alabama buddies here that are looking to help turn this thing around. And I'm pretty sure he is one of those guys with that Alabama Nick Saban mentality of just come in, do your job to the best of your capabilities, and everything will take care of itself. So I've heard nothing but good things about O.J. Howard, his work ethic, and we know the talent is there. You know, for whatever reason, it hasn't shined through all the way in Tampa, but, you know, maybe a change of scenery is what he needs. And I'd love to have the Redskins be the team that gives it to him. So I'd be all for it, definitely. Thank you for the super chat, Randy Butler. Jamal Long, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it, Jamal. Thank you once again, Jamal, who writes, Rona money just hit the bank account, so I had to show some love. Hey, man, that stimulus feeling real good, man. That was a blessing right there. I appreciate you blessing me with some of the Rona dough, man. He says, this season wouldn't have been heights. What you think about Harrison Bryant? Sprinkle me, bitch. Sprinkle me. He says, keep doing what you do. Your content is fire. Thank you, J.R. Hicksonball. Talked about Harrison Bryant on the tight end show that I did last week on Draft 101 Live. Harrison Bryant, really interesting. As a matter of fact, I've got his breakdown right here somewhere in close proximity to me. So I'll just read you my scouting report on Harrison Bryant. Excuse me for that hiccup. I just tried to destroy my mic just now. But Harrison Bryant, I've got him as a second round tight end. That's the grade I gave him. He's my number 4 tight end overall in this year's draft. My player comp for him is Tyler Eifert. So that's on the high end. If he is what we think he could be from a talent standpoint, Tyler Eifert is his ceiling, and that's a hell of a ceiling to have. Strengths, size, athleticism. He's an easy, fluid mover. Solid route running ability. Sells fakes well. Does a really good job of selling fakes. Physicality with the ball in his hands. You see some run after the catch where he's able to continue to pick up yardage after contact, which was the next pro, which was yards after contact. Tremendous production. This is a guy that had 65 catches for over 1,000 yards last season at Florida Atlantic. So the production was through the roof throughout his career. He's got tremendous upside, and he competes as a blocker. So everything that you're kind of looking for with him is there. It's just about him getting the most out of his talent. But there are some drawbacks here. So his weaknesses are as follows. Too many drops. Too many concentration drops. For a guy with that kind of production and as many targets as he got at Florida Atlantic, I need him to catch the football. And he's got good hands, but there are too many times where he didn't look the football in, and it was a drop, and I just need him to catch the football. Often used flexed or detached from the box. So you're talking about a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience in line as a traditional Y. Now, that's not to say that he can't do it. He just didn't do it a ton at Florida Atlantic. So that's something you would have to probably coach him up on to get him a little bit better and more comfortable at doing. And then finally, he will have to learn how to separate at the next level. I didn't think he did a tremendous job of separating. There was a lot of zone coverages that he ran through, a lot of busted coverages he was able to run open in. Didn't see him separating and being a man beater a lot of times. And so it'll be interesting to see, how fast he goes in the upcoming draft. But he is an intriguing prospect, one that I think has a really high potential in this league. But again, where he goes and how he's coached, definitely going to go a long way in determining how good Harrison Bryant is in this league. Thank you for the super chat, J.R. Hicksonball. Leo Suarez with the super chat. And he says, Thank you for the super chat. First and foremost, Leo. Double up. For Leo Suarez. That's your second one of the night, man. Leo says, wasting my stimulus check on your content. One love. Hey, whoa. Don't say wasting your stimulus bread here, okay? More like generously donating it, okay? You're putting it to good use, okay? And I thank you for that. So thank you for the super chat, and thank you for doubling up. Let's see. All right. Now that I got a quick break from super chats, I want to reiterate on my IG, Louis T Network _ is my IG. Follow me on IG. I've got some content up there, exclusive content that you won't get on the Louis T Network here on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter. I've got a breakdown of Chase Young, a draft prospects 101 breakdown of Chase Young. I've got a draft 101 prospects breakdown of Jordan Love. I'm going to upload another breakdown, one featuring Isaiah Simmons this weekend. I've also got a little nugget up there from Urban Meyer, Herb on Chase Young and what makes him so special. Check out my IG. I'm going to upload a lot of great content onto IG that I'm not uploading anywhere else. So make sure you follow me on IG so you don't miss out. Anytime I break down a prospect, it's going to be done on IG. You know, anything that I do in regards to the draft from a breakdown standpoint where we're looking at film, whether it's NFL film or college film, going to be done on IG. So make sure you follow me on IG, and Louis T Network _ on IG is where you need to be. So make sure you do that. That being said, no more super chats for the time being. Or maybe there are some more super chats and I just need to reconnect. Let's try. I just want to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. And if not, we'll get to the phone lines. If there isn't anything there, we'll get to the comment section. All right. So, here we go. All right. And I'm sorry for any technical difficulties. So what the cable company has told me is that you're going to see some buffering from time to time. You're going to have some issues with internet connection because everyone's on the internet. Everyone's at home. Everyone's on the internet. So it's going to bog it down a bit. So I, like most of you out there, may be dealing with some internet issues because everyone's on the damn internet. Hopefully we'll be able to power through those the rest of the night. But thank you guys for hanging tough with me, your man, Louis T. That being said, DMV fan 123, double up, for my man DMV fan 123. Thank you for the super chat. DMV fan 123 writes, should the Giants take Becton or Simmons? I want them to take Becton. However, I think they're going to take Simmons. I initially, when I banged out my first draft of my mock, I had the Giants taking Becton because of Dave Gettleman and his track record. He's always been one to build from within and then fan out. But because of the uniqueness of this situation and the type of player that Isaiah Simmons is, I just don't, and they don't have enough playmakers on defense. They did some things in free agency, going out and getting Blake Martinez and some of the other guys that they added. I actually thought they had a really good and active free agency period, but they still don't have a guy like Isaiah Simmons on their defense. And so I think they want to get a difference maker, and he is that. So, you know, Mekhi Becton makes a ton of sense because they don't have a true left tackle that can protect their franchise quarterback and Daniel Jones. But in the same token, this is a deep draft. They may feel like they can, go and draft a guy because they have their second round pick, unlike us. They can, there'll be some tackles that, spill over into the second round, like a Austin Jackson, for instance, I think, he's a guy that should be around early second round, and they may have a chance to draft him. If he's not a guy like I mentioned, like Ezra Cleveland, that may get pushed up, will be available. What if Josh Jones doesn't go in the first round? He'll be available. I think he does go in the first round, though, but he'll be available. They'll have options, and so I think they feel like, yeah, while Mekhi Becton is a one-of-a-kind type of tackle in this particular draft, these type of guys don't grow on trees. Isaiah Simmons, these type of athletes don't grow on trees either. You're more likely to find a guy that can play the tackle position and play it adequately enough that you don't feel the sting of missing out on Becton. You're more likely to do that than you are to find a guy that can do the things that Isaiah Simmons can do on a football field. And because of that fact, I think that the Giants ultimately go with Isaiah Simmons. Begrudgingly enough, I think that's going to be their pick, and I admit that begrudgingly. But I think that's what they ultimately decide to do. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one from my man Derek B. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. Greatly appreciate it. My man Derek B writes, been blessed to work from home, which definitely is a blessing, man. He says, red zone replay is a lifesaver. The problem fans have with Haskins is he came in the NFL like the NFL was an episode of Ballers. And I kind of asked the question last week about Dwayne Haskins and why he was so polarizing, and there's some validity to that. The whole charging people for his draft party, and the whole league done messed up, and the whole Haskins and Haskins corporation thing. But that stuff doesn't bother me. And my thing is, fine, you don't like him because of that. That has nothing to do with the Dwayne Haskins play on the field, however. You can separate the two. You cannot like Dwayne Haskins, the person, and still, root for Dwayne Haskins, the football player, to be successful, which is what I struggle with. Why can't fans separate the two? I think I'm just asking some fans out there to be rational, and fans are irrational. A lot of fans are irrational, and I'm asking them to be rational. I'm asking them to do something that is pretty simple, but a lot of them just don't want to do. And there was a call last week, and a caller last week pretty much laid it out and said, there are factions within the fan base. We see this all the time. It was like that with Kirk Cousins, that want to see, Dwayne Haskins fail so that they can say, I told you so. They much rather be right than actually root for the team and the success of the team, which means rooting for Dwayne Haskins and his success. Because if you want to fast track the Redskins on the path to success and prosperity, the fastest way to do that is to have Dwayne Haskins be successful. If he's not successful and you got to start this quarterback thing all over again, you take a whole giant 2 steps backwards in the process. And so, if he's good and we can just move forward with him, it expedites everything. But some fans much rather be able to say, I told you so, told you this guy was trash and we should have took Tua. They much rather be able to say that than just get on board and see what this guy has to offer and see if he can't be a potential, top half of the league quarterback, top 10 quarterback in this league, if the Redskins surround him with the correct weaponry. So it's unfortunate that it is that way, but that's the fact of the matter, and that's just how some people are, and you can't change them. And at this point, I'm not even looking to waste my breath trying to change them. I just had to rant about that, but you're not wrong. He probably did ruffle some feathers when he first came in the league, but, it is what it is. Again, I'm able to separate the two, and so there's that. Anyhow, got another super chat. This one from my man Protect Sports. Thank you for the super chat, Protect Sports. My man Tones, appreciate you. Who writes, it's my guy, your guy, Louis T. Bro, what's your opinion on tight end Hunter Bryant from Washington for the Skins in the 4th round, if available, or Thad Moss? So again, talked about this. on last week's draft 101 live that the tight ends in this draft are pretty unique in the sense that there are a lot of pass catching threats, not a lot of guys that are exceptional blockers. But I talked about Hunter Bryant. I think he's my 5th tight end, and he is. I'll give you a quick scouting report on him. 6'2", 248. Ran a 4.74. I thought he was going to run faster than that, but so what? That's plenty fast in this league. 52 catches last year for 825 yards and 3 touchdowns in 12 games. I've got a day 2 grade on him, which means he can go in the 2nd or he can go in the 3rd round. I don't think he makes it into the 4th round. But again, it's all in how these tight ends come off the board. If we go a full 2 rounds and only one tight end is selected, and let's say Cole Kmet is the first tight end off the board, I have him as my 2nd rated tight end in this draft. And let's say he comes off the board. Is he 2nd? He may be 3rd. Yep, he's my 3rd rated tight end. And let's say he comes off the board first. A lot of people think that he's got the highest upside of any tight end in this particular draft, and that's fine. I told you 1, 2, and 3 can go in any order in this draft, and it wouldn't shock me at the tight end position. There is no separator to me. There is no differentiator. There isn't that one guy that stands head and shoulders above the rest. So it wouldn't shock me if Cole Kmet went first. It wouldn't shock me if Adam Troutman went first. Hell, it wouldn't shock me if Devin Asiasi went first, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know that by now. But Hunter Bryant is my 5th rated tight end. And let's say that, we get to the end of the 2nd round and Cole Kmet is the only tight end that's gone. You could conceivably get to the 4th round and a guy like Hunter Bryant is still available. But at some point, you're going to see a run on these tight ends. I think this, and I said this already, I think the sweet spot for these tight ends, rounds 3 through 5. And I think you're going to start to see the tight end position heat up in the 3rd round. And I think a guy like Hunter Bryant comes off the board in the 3rd round. But I comped him to Dwayne Allen, the former Clemson tight end. Easy fluid mover, enough speed to threaten the seams. Good on over routes. So again, that's a speed element there. Has the tools to become a dynamic route runner. You see him do some good things. I saw a nasty double move that he put on a defender versus Oregon that netted him a touchdown. So I see the potential for him to become a dynamic route runner. Can hit for chunk plays. He averaged almost 16 yards per catch in 2019. That is a huge chunkage of yards.